Oh, I see. Here we go. Okay, so here's the bison. Here we go. All right. So this is the first one. What's this? This is a 12:08:31. This is 12:10. Okay. All right. So here's what we're gonna do, right? When you watch replays, I recommend to watch replays in chunks, right? Now, a lot of people will tell you, well, if you lost to something, you should go watch the replay. Now, that's not necessarily bad advice, but who the fuck wants to watch a replay right after they lost? Let's be real. Ain't nobody want to do that. And if you did do that, you're probably not in the right state of mind to be truly honest and truly critical. So I recommend, if you're going to watch replays, to save them for like one session. Save them for like one session. So like if you game like 4 times a week, one of your Street Fighter sessions, just turn it into a replay session. Just watch replays. Just watch your replays, watch replays of top players, stuff like that, right? Just make it a session. So we're gonna watch this replay, and we're gonna watch this whole match, and at first we're just gonna watch it, right? So I'm breaking out the Word document, right? So this is Zaku versus, what's this guy's name? Randizzle. This is the first to 2. All right. Should have used replay ID. Yeah. This is also fine. The only reason it took a long time is because I don't know how to like recalibrate the shields to like, you know, change frequencies to defend against the phasers. I don't know how to work this shit. So we're just gonna watch this through, and when we're watching it through, we're just gonna take in what happened and see if we see any patterns, right? Just see if we see any patterns. If you have a lot of replays to go through, watching them on 2x speed. How hard is it to watch? Because replays suck. Like, ain't nobody watch it. All right, key display, attack data on. All right, let's just watch it through. Let's put on 2x. Just get a sense for what happened. Just gonna get a sense for what happened here. Bang! Okay.
Round 2. Fight.
Oops. We need 2x. Let's go back. We missed that part. Let's go back. Yeah, just 2x. So the we're gonna pause here, just talk about the replay review technique. But the reason you want to 2x the entire set, before you try to analyze it, is because if you want to actually really analyze your replays and do it in like a separate session, so it's like way efficient, you're gonna want to remember what happened. So like getting a general idea is really important. Another critical thing you want when you analyze a replay is trying to remember what you were trying to do, right? Remembering your game plan, right? Trying to think like, okay, what was I going for? You know, what was my plan here? You know, did I play 10 games versus this guy? Because if you play a lot of games versus someone, or they play a particular way, you might realize like, oh, you know, if you're playing a first to 5, you might be like, oh, why am I letting him get up? I'm not meeting. This is just hypothetical. Like, why am I letting him get up? And then by game 5, you realize like, oh, I remember I was setting him up for this specific thing. Like, I was doing well enough in other areas that I let him get away with this, and I was saving it for game 5 to really, you know, punish him. Or like, you might see like, I was really just dashing and mauling the shit out of this guy. I was jumping at him. He wasn't defending very well. But then I started playing defensively for like 3 games. Why did I stop doing that? But then the more you play, you're like, oh, I was saving that for the end. You know, stuff like that, right? But that has to do with like long sets. But it's 2xing the replays helps you remember like what your game plan was. It also make you hip to some patterns. If you see a lot of patterns, it'll give you a good idea of what to look for in the beginning.
Necali wins.
So like one of the things I saw by 2xing this is the corner, the left-hand corner. Right? So let's look at the next one. Is this tech copyrighted? You don't own your strategies, man. You wanna steal this shit? Go on right ahead. Everything here is free. Even the player. Even me. I am free. It's Devour Hour.
Round 1. Fight.
So I gotta turn the... It's useful to turn this on. So, okay, so the attack data is nice, right? But what you want, no matter what, is key display. You always want key display on, because seeing the inputs is like super duper critical. Now, I understand that like if you're playing online, this is not like a local replay. If you're playing online, there are some shenanigans that can happen with your inputs, but you still want this. It will help you so much. This is when you start up a replay, first thing you should do is just go turn all this shit on. Okay, I see the left corner again. Okay. Fucking Necali. Okay. Okay, here's that corner. Alright, that's the set. So, let's go to the Word document. Go to the Word document. Let's see. So, I'm going to split this into 3 sections. I'm going to split this into general stuff, general things, game 1, and game 2, right? So these things here are things specifically that I noticed, right? So I'm gonna put general shit is gonna be things that happen in both games, and then this will be for specific situations, right? So we'll have like game 2, round 1, blah 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 blah, right? And then this general stuff will be what happened in both. We're not gonna get too super specific, I don't think, with this. But it's important just to keep everything organized. So the general things, what did we notice, right? A lot of time in left corner. Got to left corner quickly. I noticed a lot of low attacks. In both the replays, a lot of low attacks. Used V trigger 2. That's something to note. We were using VT2 in that matchup. Now, depending on how deep you want to go, you can list tons of shit, right? But just in general, these are some things I noticed. All right, game 1. Let's go back to game 1. This is game 1, right? 1208, yeah. Oh, also, We got two of it. V-Trigger 2 is for fireballs. Yeah, that's something I would think about in the matchup, right?
Fight.
Let me be more specific here. So, a lot of low attacks. We used a lot of low attacks, right? So Ken used a lot of low attacks. Got to the left corner quickly. A lot of time in the left corner. These kind of share this thing. Okay. Another important thing to maybe catch on to, we'll see about that more in general, is the round time, right? If the round times are really quick, that can tell you a lot about your play style or their play style, depending on what you see. Okay. Okay, V skill. What happened here? We teched. So there's a couple ways to go through replays, right? The most common way that you'll see people go through replays is hit by hit. So you'll watch the replay until somebody gets hit, and then you'll pause. You'll step back, and you'll say, okay, what hit, and then what caused it to hit, right? So in this situation, right, the first hit is the Seismo, right? So we look at this situation and run back. We can say, okay, the Seismo hit, what caused it to hit? All right, we were just standing in position for the Seismo, right? Just note that down. Like, okay, that can hit there, right? Another way you can review replays is to look advantage by advantage, right? So advantage by advantage is a little bit more advanced and depends on like your knowledge of the matchup, right? So it can be harder to analyze replays this way, but sometimes it can be more effective, because there will be times when you watch a replay and you'll just be like, why did this guy lose? Or like, why did this guy win? And some of that can be like really subtle, and I don't want to use the word hidden because it's not, but like kind of non-obvious. But we're gonna look at this. We're gonna look at this hit by hit because most of those things seem pretty straightforward. But if we were looking at this advantage by advantage, right, situation to situation, you would look at, okay, I've retreated, right? From the perspective of Ken. Ken retreats, right? Now we're at this distance. Actually, let me move this camera. Let me move this camera. Actually, I'm just gonna get rid of this camera. At this distance, who is winning? Right? Who is winning? Who has the most advantage? Well, Ken could throw a fireball. Necali could throw a Seismo. Right? That's situation by situation. So you would say, oh, maybe I don't want to be in that. Maybe I don't want to be in that distance, because if I'm in that distance, then Necali is winning because he has a little bit more advantage than I do, right? But we're gonna look at this hit by hit. So, first hit, Seismo. That you need to block that low. The second hit, so this is a low. Okay. Got caught pressing buttons here. Combo. Pressing buttons again. So here we got hit because we pressed. Here got hit because we pressed again. Another counter hit. We're dizzy. No pressing this time. Okay, so Necali gets hit here, right? The reason he gets hit here is because he does a really wide block string. He does a really, really wide block string. And the short lets him out, right? Now, the question I would ask myself here is, when I hit this short, what's my follow-up? Right? it seems like, okay, he's on me. I'm low. Oh shit. I can see that I can interrupt him, right? I can see that I can interrupt him. Okay, so I block this, right? This is punishable on block. He cancels it. I can interrupt. So some matchup specific things here is you can use a 4-frame attack to interrupt this pretty much no matter what, because this is -4 on block. So if he cancels this, you can interrupt. And if he does like a true block string with like EX, if you put in the 4-frame move, it shouldn't frame trap you. Similar to like how we were talking about earlier, how you can just input the DP on Bison Stand Fierce, and no matter what follow-up he has, it will lose to it. Same kind of situation. So this pressure from Necali is like pretty fake. Okay, so Necali gets hit, but there was no follow-up, right? Right here, he jumps. This would be a hard jump to react to. Like, why the fuck? What? No one's expecting this, right? This is an input error from him, I believe. But a throw? Okay, more pressure. Another interrupt. But with V-trigger this time. So here, this V-trigger comes out way before I think it would be reasonable to say that it was a reaction. Right? So he stomps into a frame trap. Right? So now he's plus. This is a plus move. His down medium punch. By going frame by frame, we can tell that it is +2. Okay, so he chooses to dash here, but this V trigger, this just comes out. I mean, that's pretty quick reaction right there. Okay, so we hit the V trigger, interrupt his pressure, DP, follow up into a low. All right, into another low, into another low. This sequence of attacks, shows a similar kind of idea as to when you got out of the pressure in the first place. So here where we're mashing short, right? Low, but no follow-up. Right? And when I say follow-up, I don't mean like a hit confirm. I mean like literally like a follow-up situation. So if you touch them, you should always generally be prepared with a sequence that you know will get you into a situation you want. So if you hit them with low short, you might want to do stand short, EX fireball. Right? That's an example of one sequence that could work here. You low short, stand short, EX fireball. If it hits, right? Cool, you get a little combo, you get a hit confirm. At a more advanced level, you can, confirm that into DP and then do fireball if they block the stand short, right? That would also push them back out of the corner, right? So this is the sequence here of low short, stand short, EX fireball. That should be pre-canned. You should just have that in like your bank of lizard brain reactions. Is like, okay, I touched them with short. This is my sequence that's gonna come out. In training mode, you should have already simulated these situations, so you know ahead of time that like, okay, this is gonna get me to a situation I like, right? So you want to have these sequences that are canned, right? And you want them just to come out. Yeah, lizard brain. You want them just to come out. So here, this and the low forwards tell me that you haven't come prepared or practiced sequences that are like brainstem lizard brain ass reactions. You are playing and figuring out things as they happen. Right? So, I mean, there's any number of sequences you could do here. Like, you could do low short into crouch medium punch, or low short into move, or low short into full walk forward throw, low short into stand jab. There's a lot of shit you can do, right? But just this low short pause shows basically there's not a sequence prepared. There's no sequence in the bank. That's similar to when we see this pressure coming up, right? Okay, so here, right, we're going for the Oki. This is hella good. This is good. This is exactly the sort of thing you want to do, right? So you hit them, you get your knockdown, and you go for the Oki, right? This, again, is another pre-canned sequence, right? You want to have this set up a little bit ahead of time, like, okay, this is just what I'm gonna do here, because that gives you a lot of mental room if you don't need to think about what the next step is. Now this will come as you become a more experienced player and as you just generally become more fluid. It's like driving a car. When you first start driving a car, you have to remember to grip your hands appropriately. This one has a little bit more pressure than that one. Put this one here, put this one there. Oh, is my left foot in the right spot? Oh my God, is there anything under the pedal? Look through the windshield. Oh shit, the windshield is in the way. Oh, there's other cars coming. Am I on the middle of the lane? Where am I? Where's the curb? There's all this you're hyper like aware and uncomfortable of everything. But the more you drive the car, the more it just becomes, oh, just get in and drive it, right? That's the same thing with this. But you want to have some sequences prepared, right? So here, you're going for low forwards, right? But what are these low forwards doing? Right? What is, you're just, okay, low forward, low forward, low forward. There's no fireball cancel. There's not really a frame trap or like a run, right? So here we go. Okay, nice. We have this Oki set up. Boom. We're in there. Right? We are in there. What's our follow-up? Right? We got an advantage. What's our follow-up? So let's just speculate on this low forward for a minute, right? Let's just speculate on this low forward for a minute. Okay, so we get in there. We get in there. And we're +5, right? We're +5 right here. What in our toolkit is going to take the most advantage of this situation? So we're +5. Here's Ken. We could do a crouching medium punch. We could do a standing jab. We could do a throw. Or we could block or retreat, right? So here, I would say that going for a low, you could go for a low, but we want to get the most advantage out of this situation possible, right? Does low forward get us the most advantage? Not necessarily, because it's -4. This is punishable. He can just do a standing jab. He could do, right now, he could do stand jab, EX stomp. Or he could do stand jab, EX DP, right? Or he could do crouch jabs, stomp, or whatever Necali's thing is. So this, not really the strongest sequence. So right here, we want to look for some Oki with good follow-ups. Okay. Going for the medium. Association you made without realizing that your B&Bs are used for punishes and crouch medium punch or crouch medium kick is for everything else. I would generally recommend I would say that as a newer player, the first hit of the bread and butter you're practicing, that first hit of the combo that you're going for, try and poke with that. Because it's gonna help you get really good at confirming when and when not you can get your bread and butter, and it's gonna teach you a lot about that one move. Okay, jump in, sweep, just pressure, just trying to attack here, overhead. So again, similar to the last situation, we get a good situation and we go for what we want, which is to take advantage of it, but just the way that it got the advantage we choose to take wasn't the best option. Just like this sweep, right? So you hit this sweep, you get to react, right? You go, okay, I get advantage. What's my follow-up? Overhead. All right. Okay. Here again. No, this is matchup knowledge stuff. This is not something you would know without fighting Necali a bunch of times. You press a button right here, but he's plus. So this is a very risky time to attack. Again, this guy seems to do pretty wide block strings, so you get away with this. But generally, this is a very risky time to hit an attack. That low swipe that he does, that crouching medium, is plus.
Round 2. Fight.
Okay, so let's pause it and open up the word doc. Accent every single time. Yeah, you get, so if you're going for stand medium kick, that can happen. That happens a lot with Ken. That happens to me too. Like you're going like, oh, okay. Oh, I want to do stand medium kick, and then you're holding back to block by default, and then it gives you that. Okay, so game 1, got hit from attempting to reversal attack with normals and mashing normals during block strings and on wake up. Then, so this is round 1. This is game 1, round 1. Also, let's just keep it right here because we could get more advanced. We could talk about matchup specific stuff. We could talk about, all sorts of situations. Like there was a moment in there where you could have whiff punished, whiff stand roundhouse with stand medium, all this stuff. But right now, with our replays, we're looking for 1 gameplay strength and 1 gameplay weakness. This is going to help us be really specific and find some practical things we can work on, right? When you're watching your replays, you could always improve on everything. Even if you're fucking Tokido, right? Or even if you're Diego Uma Juarez, you can literally always improve on every element of your play. But if you focus on one thing at a time, it's way more efficient. So this is our gameplay weakness here. We found 1 weakness. We got hit from attempting to reversal attack with normals and mashing normals during block strings and on our wake up. Right? So let's find our gameplay strength. Right? Now I think this one's obvious, is followed up to Oki situations but did not capitalize. Right? Properly. Properly is not the term we want to use. We want to use effectively. I speak English. I see you looking at me like, I don't fucking speak English. All right. Let's go to round 2. Okay, sweeping. He should know when he sees it. And that's, the urge to get in on the Oki, and then you get there and it's like, okay, what now, right? Yeah. We can use training mode for that, just to simulate the situation. What button is it? Here we go. Let me take this off. Excuse me. I got to get like one of those fancy stream decks or something. Okay. I notice more jumping now. Medium kick, stand medium kick. Okay. Let's look at this knockdown. Let's go back and look at this knockdown. Was this similar to the other ones? What happens here? Okay. Yeah, here's the... Oops. Here's that pattern again, right? We get knocked down. And it's not a specific button. It's not a specific button. But... block, button, 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 button. Right? So, we've seen this before. This definitely just reassures, like, okay, unfamiliarity with the matchup. Like, when can you take your turn? Right? That's, I suppose, because you want to take your turn, right? He touches you, you're like, all right, my turn now. But that may not necessarily be true. This is matchup specific stuff. Getting used to what Necali's pressure is like, and when is the opportunity for you to go and he cannot stop you, and when are the times when you can go but then he could steal his turn back, right? That's a really important concept to get from the jump, is that when someone is in pressure, when pressure is happening, right? Like right now, pressure is happening. Ken is pressuring Necali with down medium kick. But since down medium kick is -4 on block, Necali gets to take his turn afterwards, right? Then there's always the caveat is you can steal your turn back, right? So normally Necali would get to go. But right now Ken has EX. So he could just rip an EX DP and steal the turn, right? That's an important thing to understand, is waiting your turn, taking your turn, and when can you still steal turns. It's really easy to know when you can take your turn by looking at the frame data and the distance, right? So like, for example, if you were -4 but you're both full screen, Necali can't really do anything super dangerous to you. I mean, he gets to go before you, but there's nothing like crazy there. But if you're up close, it's different, right? So the frame data and the distance will tell you when you can take your turn or not. So there's more buttons there. Again, the medium kick, medium kick. Okay, buttons, buttons, buttons. Buttons, buttons again. Okay, buttons again. So definitely you are just pressing to press, right? Because if you were a little bit more comfortable and a little bit more observant right here. So even if you say, okay, I want to mash light kick, right? I want to mash stand short to try and catch him messing up, or to catch something that's bigger than 4 frame. Once he jumped, the light kick should have stopped, right? You say, oh, okay, he jumped. Let me try to use something that deals with jump. That you may or may not have that. But that's just something to think about. Okay. More plus frames. So let's go back here. So we can see EX Stomp. EX Stomp is +2 on block. Right? And you try to take your turn afterwards by using V-Trigger. After EX Stomp, not Ken's turn. Now, there are things you can do there. But generally, I would say, like, okay, let's just block that out for now. Let's just block that out for now until we get more consistent in general. Okay, so round 2. Round 2. Again, got hit mashing. Yeah, what's up, Superpath? Could you get an out? Oh, for sure, man. I got you. Anytime. Absolutely anytime. If you want a replay analyzed, just hit me up. Like anytime. Like that's definitely what we do around here. Also, there's the channel points, which you can use to get a replay analyzed. But generally, you can just ask. Like it's really just secretly free. The only like real rule about that is like we play Street Fighter on Wednesdays, you know. So like if we're playing like Tekken or something, don't come in like, hey, stop playing Tekken. It's time to look at this replay. You know what I mean? But if it was a Tekken replay, then it would be fine. You know what I mean? Common sense stuff. You like V-Trigger 2, but you need to stop treating it like it works like a V-reversal. It's not zero frame or get out of jail free. That is true. Ken's V-Trigger 2 is actually really difficult to use. It's actually a very hard to use move properly. Okay. A little bit more. Was there more blocking? Let's go back and look. It took a little bit longer to get to the corner. To do it for sure. We're gonna do these two games from Zaku, and then we'll see what's good. We need to go to round 2. If you pause, you can actually just skip to the rounds here. Okay. 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 Not getting hit by seismos. Okay. Okay. So, didn't really get a chance to do much. Too much. But avoided slams. All right, let's go to the next. Let's go to the next game. So right now we're just trying to pick out one thing. Like we could nitpick and pick out, you know, everything, but we're just trying to pick out what seems to be the most prominent thing, because the purpose of viewing the replays, the purpose of watching your replays over again, is to find something you can train. Right? So to train effectively, you need to have targeted and intentional practice. Right? A lot of players, almost a majority of players, just practice by grinding out games, and that is really, really slow. Right? You will improve so much faster if you just take a look at what's going on and say, okay, I'm going to work on this today. Right? Another benefit of that is that you get to give yourself your own goals, which makes the online experience a little bit more palatable. Because if you go online and, like, say you have a bad day, you just get washed, or, like, you know, your opponents are a little bit rude to you, or it's laggy or something like that. But if you can still practice that one thing you set out to do, and if you accomplish that, it's still just as rewarding as winning, right? Or a little bit more rewarding like winning. Okay, so this looks a lot more tentative, a lot more patient to me. I would say patient, but to be patient, we have to be waiting for something. Okay, there's those buttons again. There's those buttons again. Command grab. Buttons again. Okay. Oh, got away with that one. There's those medium kicks, sweep. Oh, you waited that time. Let's go back and look. Let's go back and look at the very end of that round. Let's see
Round 2.
if you truly did wait.
Fight. Round 1. Fight.
Fast forward to the end of the round. Okay. I forgot what button was the pause button. Okay. Okay. Oops. That's not it. It's the next one. Okay. What's the... It's RB? Was that this one? Okay. Here, he's +2. That knee is +2. This low swipe is +2. Okay, stomp is a block string. Okay. He's still +2, which means that if you want to take a turn here, you have to steal it. Generally, stealing turns is super dangerous. So right here, just chilling is the right option. In fact, I can tell 100%... sorry, I sneezed. I can tell 110% that you fully intentionally chose to defend here because you transitioned from back walk to down back. You fully intended to down back here. This is a good choice because it's not your turn. Right? So, but here's that bad habit again. You block and you're like, okay, I block this. Now I'm going to take my turn. And we see here, just, I didn't even know this, but that crouching short is +1. Right? That crouching short is +1. So, if you wanted to get more advanced and you knew Necali's frame data and specifically what he can reach with at this distance, you might be able to do something. But generally, if he's plus, just let it go for now. Because you get yourself into hot water again.
Round 2.
Let's actually note that down before we miss it. So game 2. Ooh, I'm clicking something. Okay, here we go. Game 2, round 1. Round 10? Could you imagine playing 10 rounds with someone? That'd be crazy. What do you even do with your EX bar? Okay, so got hit, mashing again. Still crouch, MK, crouch, MK, crouch, MK. No follow. No effective follow-up. Follow up. And then defended well after EX stomps. Okay. Let's get round 2 here. All right. Oh, roundhouses. Unintentional back medium kicks. Turn stealing. Let's look at that. So here we are. Okay, got hit. Press in medium kick. What is this knee on block? Let's look. Okay, so this happens. We see this. He's +2. If we wanted to take a turn here, we'd have to steal it. Okay, this is a pretty wide gap, but we're not going to worry about this for now. What is that stomp on block? Let's get some matchup knowledge. That stomp is 0. So you could choose to do a fast move here. You could choose to move here. There's a lot of things you could do. Both of you guys are kind of in a standoff situation. 50-50-ish. So in a situation where you and the opponent are both 0, right? You're both neutral. Generally, you want to try to do things that are quick. If you do not have a read, if you are not confident in like, okay, he's 90%, 80%, 70% gonna do this, right? If you're not completely confident in that, generally you want to go for something that's quick. So here, if you really felt compelled to take a turn and you knew that he was 0, right? You have to know, okay, I know he's 0. I want to take a turn. Do something fast. So for Ken, you would do crouching light kick, crouching jab, standing jab. Those are the things you might do here. Here you choose medium kick, and he just chooses a move that's faster. Okay, so we're in the corner again. Ooh, blocking. But then there's that button. So you started blocking on wake up, but you still have the habit of pressing immediately after you block something. Ooh. Okay. Okay. So we're blocking. Let's go here. Block on wake up instead of mashing normal. Oh yeah, okay. So mashed. Let's see. Mash normal after blocking first hit. Okay. All right, so let's review our notes. Let's review. These are, keep it simple on purpose. Keep it as simple as you can. Keep it as simple as you can keep it. All right. Try to keep it as simple as you can keep it. Identify one strength, identify one weakness, and try to look for general patterns. Right? Okay, so spend a lot of time in the left corner. Now, I'll say to figure this out, this is actually a lot more complicated than it seems. So, actually, we're just not going to worry about this. Let's not worry about this now. Using a lot of low attacks. V-trigger 2. Got 2-0'd. This, it happens. Sometimes you just get 2-0'd, right? But you started to adapt a little bit, which is a good sign. So we're not really worried about this. We can't really use this too much, this info. Used V-trigger 2. Okay, so this has to do with matchup knowledge, right? Generally, V-trigger 2 is mostly for avoiding projectiles and avoiding specific types of cross-up attacks. V-trigger 1 has a lot of advantages over V-trigger 2. There's nothing inherently wrong with using V-trigger 2 just to play or to practice with in different situations. But if you were trying to win a tournament, which is what was happening, this was CPT Online. So if you were trying to do well in the competition, you must choose the best weapon, right? That just makes sense. So like if you're going to get into a fight and the other guy has a machine gun, don't pick up a spear, right? Pick up another machine gun, right? So there's a little bit to be said with like, well, don't pick Ken, just pick Akuma, right? But that is true. That is true. Picking the best weapon is part of the skill. If you're dead set on using Ken or whatever character you want, and you don't want to just pick a top tier, try to optimize your V-trigger selection, right? So V-trigger 1, I would recommend try going with V-trigger 1. So let's go down to recommendations here. Let's make a recommendations. Recommendations. I missed the letter. So we're gonna go in or use VT1. V-trigger 1 is better for Ken in 70% of circumstances. Like almost every circumstance, V-trigger 1 is superior. V-trigger 2 is nice, and one of the advantages of V-trigger 2 is that it's very straightforward, right? Because it's just a move. You don't really need to do a lot of fancy stuff with it. But I would recommend getting used to V-trigger 1. One of the things that V-trigger 1 will do for you specifically is it will help you with the bad habit mashing out, because there were a couple times where you blocked the normal and you went for V trigger, right? There was like maybe 2 or 3 times where you went for VT specifically, or you went for VT as an anti-air. That's a bad habit that you can actually cut off at the pass by choosing V trigger 1, because it's not enticing to use V trigger 1 in that situation. V trigger 1 is not an attack, it's an install. So that will actually help you break that habit if you just select V trigger 1. Excuse me. All right, number 2. Actually, let me format this. Okay, 2. All right, so use V trigger 2. Can use a lot of low attacks. This leads into not following up with effective follow-ups. Okay, so let's go to round 1. We noticed that we got hit from attempting to reversal. Followed up well in Oki situations, but did not capitalize effectively. Again, we got hit by mashing. We didn't really get to do much this round. Mashing, medium kicks, defended well after EX stomps. Okay, so get used to blocking for longer periods of time. Let the opponent push themselves away. All right, let me talk about this after we get our third recommendation. After we get the recommendations, we'll go into the lab and we'll look at some simple like drills and basic things we can practice to improve on these skills here. So actually, turn taking was learn when to take turn. Learn when to take your turn. And then let's see. Didn't get a chance. Defended well after EX stomps. One of the things I will say is you in fact played with control and intention. That is very, very good. That is something that a great many people do not start the game with. You played with control and intention. It was very clear the whole time that you were doing things on purpose, right? You were absolutely doing stuff on purpose. So that's very, very good. But it just so happens that you just ended up choosing the wrong things to do. A lot of people will just panic and just mash, but it pretty, I mean, a little bit, sometimes there was a little bit of a panic, but most of the time you did not panic, which is very, because that means you will improve way faster because you're very cognizant of what's going on. Can we throw out crouch medium punch instead of crouch medium kick as a poke? Get your muscle memory. Yeah, crouch medium punch can be the poke. I would recommend going for that. So let's see. Is there anything else we should recommend? Okay, so 2 and 3 go together. 2 and 3 go together. Recommendation 2, recommendation 3 go together. Okay. Necali lab work. Okay, so here after viewing the replay, here are my recommendations. Firstly, there's a little bit of a bad habit to go for V trigger when you have it. And the red bar of courage is fucking sick. Like, don't get me wrong, V triggers are the coolest thing. They're like the strongest thing. They're really good to use, but tempting to just shoot yourself in the foot with them. I would recommend using V trigger 1 because it will basically restrict you from that temptation. You won't just be throwing it out because V trigger 1 is not an attack. If anything, it's just you're just gonna dash into their face, right? It's definitely. I mean, even top level players, as soon as they get the red bar of courage, it's fucking on, right? That's why it's the red bar of courage, because people get get really enticed to use it. So I'd say just put on V Trigger 1, even versus Ryu, even versus the mirror match, even versus Akuma. Just put on V Trigger 1 for now. Just make that the default. That will help you with, you know, mashing out the V Trigger, and that will help you more in the future as well, when you start getting to anti-airing with uppercuts and things like that, right? Because you won't be tempted to try to use Shinryuken. Let's go into the training mode. Okay, so here's practice a bowl thing. Practice stuff. Let's have practice stuff. All right, first the prescription. Here's the prescription. Go into training mode. Go into the lab. Pick Necali. And look at all the moves you remember. Specifically the ones you remember about that match, right? So come in here with Necali. Put Necali on player 1 or player 2, whatever you like. Get the dummy to block. And look at these moves. Make sure in training mode you turn on frame advantage, color, attack data, and the key display. Make sure all of this is on, right? Come over here with Necali and just look at these moves. So we saw this one. This is +2. Look at how far away it pushes you, right? Just look at what it does. Okay? We saw this one. So we saw this sequence. Right? Then we saw this, or EX, right? Right, so I'm doing EX. You can't see it because I have the colors on. But if I were to turn these colors off, you'll see that I'm doing EX here. Right? So we see, think about the moves you remember and the sequences you remember. Try to think about what he did, right? The second thing, so this is going to help us get familiar. Helps familiarity with matchup knowledge. I'm just with matchup. So going into training mode and just fucking around with Necali, just, you know, messing around with him, is going to help you get familiar with what his moves look like. The second thing is get used to blocking for long periods of time and let the opponent push themselves away. So take the sequences that you remember or saw in the replay and do them. Look to see if you get pushed far away. Get used to only attempting to take your turn once you get pushed back. So here's what I mean by that, right? So look at the sequences this guy did, right? So let's say he did this, right? He's plus right here. Is this a good idea to take your turn right now? Maybe not. Maybe not, right? But what if he did this, right? Can he touch you after he does this? Right? He definitely did this. Can he touch you? No. Okay, so now you're free to take your turn. He can't... Wait, what's he gonna do? Nathan's hot dogs. He's got nothing. He could roundhouse, right? So take those replays and look at the sequences you remember from them, and just see, like, when is it over? When is the pressure over? Right? So like if he does this, okay, now it's over. Right? He could roundhouse, but I still get to back up and walk away. Right? Like, okay, I can do something now. It's over. But if he does this, this is all true block string, by the way. So if you try to back away here, you would still block it, right? So is it over now? No, after EX stomps, he can do one thing. So, oh, it's not over. He gets to do one thing, right? This is what you want to experiment with. Just mess around with him and be like, oh, okay, this is when he's absolutely assed out, right? Just go into training mode and look for these. Just try to do different things and just see when he's assed out. When that happens, right? Take your turn then. What this is going to do is it's going to prevent you from getting yourself into trouble, right? So if you're right here, right? If Necali did a sequence and you're right here, what can you do? Oh, I could stay medium. Can't down medium. Can medium kick, right? Could do this. I can move. Moving is important. This is the go-to option most of the time, is moving. So okay, stand medium. Could stand fierce if you really wanted. This is an excellent option here. It's plus on block, pushes him back to a decent distance, and you could do fireball. This is not a bad option right here. This is great. All right, what else? Let's see. What are the recommendations? Learn when to take your turn. Oh, here we need to recommend another one. We need to recommend practice a good sequence after HP DP Oki. Yeah, so if you put in the fireball, you get chip damage. So you see when you press medium punch how it turns. If you look at Necali's health bar, it goes down a little bit, right? You see that gray life? But if we use a fireball, we chip him out. We actually take life off of him. Generally, at any time you can do chip damage, you want to do chip damage because it is actually a good, important optimization. This is not minor in the slightest. This is actually very important chip damage. You want to try to apply chip damage. The same thing with this. If you go for down medium kick, try to buffer fireball. So just practice this a couple times. Get used to doing it. Crouch medium kick fireball. This is the classic. And then this here is also a classic. Just practice those. Yeah, it's a super easy buffer. The only time, there's only one caveat, is if you do it really close, it's unsafe. So this up close, this here, this would be unsafe. But if you touch them far away or like with the middle of your poking button, you're absolutely fine. So go in a lab, pick Necali, look at all the removes you remember. Like use Necali, right? Use Necali, look at all the removes you remember, have him do the moves, try the moves for yourself, get an understanding of like, oh, okay, this is what this move looks like. Like when you see it, you want to be able to identify it. Like your goal is when you see this, you want to go, oh, that's his standing medium punch. You want to know that, right? And when you like, oh, this is a sequence. It's not my turn yet, but he can only do one more thing, so it's going to be my turn soon, right? Now it's your turn because he can't do anything to you. Go look in Necali, a little bit of lab work stuff, right? Take the sequences that you remember, do them. Look how far you get pushed away. Wait, block until you get pushed back, because This will force your opponent to steal their turn back. I'm going to use Ken as an example, right? Say you do this. Okay, right? You do that. Now my pressure's not very good. I can't really do anything after this. I could do that. Could try to sweep. Right now, I want to get a better position. So maybe I'll steal my turn back. Right? Steal my turn back. Right? If you prioritize defending with blocking and waiting till they push you away, you'll start to understand and see when players go to steal their turn back. And when they steal their turn back, they're vulnerable. And that's an excellent time for you to use the combo you've been practicing. Right? That's an excellent time for you to use that combo. Right? So, here's this combo, right? Now, you hit this. You hit HDP. Or you would like sweep him or something. And you were able to get close, but you would just do this. This, while, okay, you do take advantage of the knockdown situation by pressing an attack, this absolutely surrenders your turn afterwards because you're -4 on block, right? You could do this. If you did it too close, you'd be unsafe. But if you backed up, you could do that. But if you just did the combo you know how to do again, if you just did this as a meaty, hey, wait a minute. You now have a situation that loops into itself. This is a really solid, simple game plan that you already have all of the tools to complete, right? So you just do this combo, go for your Oki, do it again. This is the sequence that you should be doing when they get knocked down. You should be looking for this, right? You want to look and see if you hit them, right? So basically just do this, and look for the hit, right? Just look for the hit. This is all you're looking for, is when you go for this, look for the hit, and if you get the hit, hit fierce, and then do your cancel. Yeah, poking with crouch medium punch will definitely help. Heavy agree. Make your goal in the match to just land this combo in all circumstance. Ignore all other combos. You will know when you need other combos. It may come relatively soon. I mean, it might seem like, oh, well, that's obvious, right? Like, you will know when you need all other combos. Just focus on just doing this, right? So, the third thing, focus on a sequence that goes into itself again. Use crouch, medium punch, target combo 1, XX, HDP, run. Okay, so this is what I recommend. This, run. Don't worry about if they quick rise. Don't worry about if they back rise. Don't worry about anything. Just this, run. Right? And when you see them get up, just try to time it. The Ken guide has like specific Oki stuff, but question? Yeah, hit me with it. Just do this. This situation goes into itself again. Also, when you get pushed away, when you're blocking, you get pushed away, right? Just try to take your turn with this again. Just do this again. If it whiffs, let it whiff. Just keep doing this. Just only use this to begin with. This, you gotta learn how to use this one thing before you learn how to use the rest of the things. So just keep it super simple. Target combo 1 on block, minus 13. You have meter. Is it worth canceling into fireball anyway to just be 8? So if you're doing this on block, say you accidentally let this rip, right? Theoretically, it is always better to do this. The reason it's better to do the fireball on block, even if you do not have EX, to make yourself safe, right? So this is safe. This is advantageous for Ken. This is safe. This is unsafe. But look at the distance. So this is the distance if I do fireball, right? So boom, there's fireball. Now let's look at the distance if there's no fireball. That's significantly closer. So here's fireball. Look at the distance between their legs, right? The tips of their toes. It's almost a training mode square. Maybe 1 or 2 small squares short, right? Almost. Actually, let's just turn on the hitboxes and look. Okay, so the edge of that green box is where they're at. So we're looking from edge to edge, right? That's really where they are, right? Now let's look if you just did the fireball, or if you didn't do the fireball. Closer, you're closer, pretty significantly closer. You ask because you know you're gonna happen. Honestly, I wouldn't. So you want to have options from your sequences, right? You want to have options from your sequences. So this run up, okay. Let me just get into quick rise, for example. I mean, to make it faster. So, okay, if he blocks, you can frame trap with this. You could cut it short and go from throw, right? You could steal the turn back. You could steal the turn back with stagger pressure again. You could continue to frame trap into EX, right? There's a lot of things you can do. When you're creating your own sequences, you want to look for things that have the most advantageous possibilities, right? Like there's a mix-up, right? So there's a mix-up here. Am I gonna stagger or am I gonna frame trap? If he tries to press a button to interrupt me staggering, he'll get clipped by my frame trap, right? But right now, just go for this. Just worry about hitting this. Yeah. Choosing when to fireball. So the thing you should be looking for is not, oh shit, I messed up, how do I recover? You should be looking for, okay, it hit, keep going. Or, okay, it didn't hit, keep going, right? One of the ways you can practice getting used to that is come in here and put this on random. Just do this. Just do down medium, back medium. And if it hits, go for the DP, run. If it doesn't hit, stop. Right? The better you get at hit confirming, the quicker you'll be able to confirm it. Just look for that first hit to hit. Just do this. Just look for the hit, and then just keep practicing that. Because when you do this, you already know what's gonna happen, right? You already know what's gonna happen. It's either gonna get hit or block, and you're gonna come for this. And all you're looking for is that yellow spark and that sound, right? Don't think about pretty much anything else. Like, just ignore all other options. Just go, okay, this, run up, do it again. And if he blocks it, just chill. Just stop at back medium punch. Just chill again. Let him take his turn. Let him do his thing. Don't try to do anything fancy until you get absolute control over landing this solid combo. Excuse me. So, if you fuck up and this happens, that's not bad. But this is where you should be looking for the fuck up, right? This is where you should be looking for, like, okay, I need to make sure I choose appropriately here. You know? Yeah, so with this, Ken specifically, you can choose either option. Either one of these options is fine. They do the same damage. Right, so it's 244. Oh, that's because he got dizzied. Should do two. I must be tripping. Anyway, the damage, the 1 point of damage is generally insignificant. They're both good options. Alright. This is what I recommend on practicing. Focus on the sequence that goes into itself. Take sequences that you remember. So this is going to help you learn when to take your turn. This is going to help you get familiar with what Necali's moves are. And this is going to keep you from basically killing yourself, right? I think these are some good things. I think this is pretty much all you can reasonably say to get from that replay, right? So come in with V-Trigger 1, get used to blocking, right? Learn when to take your turn, look at Necali in the lab, and practice a good sequence off of HDP or Tatsu. You can choose either one you want, but just try to do that sequence over and over and over again until you master it. It'll only take like 10 or 20 games most of the time. To actually practice that stuff, go into the lab, pick Necali. Just pick Necali, use him. Just look at his moves. Look at his moves. Right? Just try to move around. You know, do his stuff. Just see what all of his stuff looks like. Right? Then, once you've seen his stuff, try to do things you remember that guy doing. And just look at what they're like. Alright? Think, oh, okay, when is it over? That's the question I would say ask the most. Is like, when is it over? Right? When is it done? When can I go? Right? When am I not going to get myself in a hot water by pressing? And then after that, just practice this one sequence for Oki. Right? I mean, this right here is Ken's bread and butter combo. And it's super good. And you can already do this combo. So just run that over and over again.